baller this week for this week 3 of NFL, and a whole lot of phenomenal contests. If you haven't signed up yet, go to awesemo.com, click on the MLB tab, spotlight hitters right at the top. You'll see that link right there. Get up to $30 in Yahoo Sports rewards points when you sign up and deposit. You can use that on the site. It's good as cash to play and win money and ultimately withdraw that money, assuming you win. Also, great contest if you're working with a smaller bankroll, and some zero management fee contests as well, meaning everything that gets paid into it by the player gets paid back out to the player. Yahoo Daily Fantasy Sports. Just go to MLB tab at awesemo.com. Click that Spotlight Hitters article, totally free, and use the link to get $30 in Yahoo Sports rewards points when you sign up and deposit and get that action in for MLB tonight. But most importantly, week 3 of NFL. Awesome payout structure on that 500K baller, only $10 to enter as well. Yahoo Daily Fantasy Sports, sponsor of the Deeper Dive. All right, here we go. I am Dave Locker, and that's Adam Scher. We've got a 5-gamer, small slate today, Adam. We had an early slate, not a big one, but 5 games tonight. And just so everyone's clear, if you're listening in the car ride home, or you just got home and you're waiting to make your lineups, lock is at 6:35 Eastern time. 6:35 Eastern time on Draftkings. On FanDuel, it's the regular 7:05, and on Yahoo, it's 7:05. But on DraftKings, all their main contests, all their biggest contests are at 6:35, first pitch, 6:35 p.m. Eastern time. So make sure not to make the mistake of going to finalize your lineup at 6:50 and see that half your players are locked. What's going on, brother?
How's it going, man? 5-gamer. So I don't know, not a whole lot of pitching on this one. I think that from a tournament standpoint, it's going to be interesting just because I think you're going to get a lot of concentrated ownership. So probably a pretty fun slate.
All right. Well, here we go. It's time to jump right into it. The New York Yankees, the LA Angels, Andrew Heaney, Masahiro Tanaka. Tanaka's been all over the map this season. Andrew Heaney, on the other hand, is actually shown some quality stuff. He's got that sick curveball. I noticed, though, that teams just kind of stopped swinging at it at times, and then they'd force him to throw stuff in the zone, and then he'd get rocked for 3 home runs like he did against Tampa his last time out. As a matter of fact, he's allowed 4+ earned in each of his last 3 starts, 5 total home runs over that span. But Heaney's also someone that can rack up strikeouts in bunches. Tanaka, on the other hand, K rate way down this season, Adam. Swinging strikes way down. Talk to me about this matchup between the two.
It's funny you mentioned that on Heaney. I was playing the show, MLB The Show, like yesterday and pitching with him. And it's like the 3rd time I've used him. And I hate it like every time because he has the really good curveball, which is why I traded for him. And then it's just impossible to pitch with him because teams don't swing at it. And then he gets lit up and I have to throw something else.
Real life and video games.
Yeah. He's the same guy across the board. So, yeah, I mean, it's obviously a tough matchup for him against the Yankees. Tons of right-handed power in this lineup. Not the best lineup they're running out there. There's no Gleyber Torres. There's no Aaron Judge. So that, I think, makes him at least kind of interesting in tournaments if he's not going to get ownership. He's 8,800 on DraftKings, which is the only site where this game is. I don't have any confidence in him pitching well. The Yankees still have a 5.5 implied run total. They still have right-handed power, but he does have a high strikeout percentage. He does have as good of a Yankees lineup as you're really ever going to get going against him. So, at least consider him if he's going to get really low ownership. On the other side, Tanaka, I think, is the pitcher that projects better out of the two. The Angels have been a really tough matchup all season long. Tanaka's been a disappointing pitcher from a strikeout standpoint all season long. But now this Angels team doesn't have Trout. They don't have Ohtani. They don't have Upton. Not quite the same tough matchup. You still have Fletcher, Pujols, Simmons, and Kevin Smith that are all below 20% strikeout percentages. But David Fletcher has a 100 WRC plus against right-handed pitching since last year. The other 3 are well below that. And then everyone else in this lineup strikes out and or is not good at hitting. So a bit more favorable matchup for Tanaka. I think that he's one of 2 mid-range options that project reasonably well in this slate.
Okay. Where do you have, there's 10 pitchers. Would you put him towards the top, being that, of course, we only have 10 arms?
Yeah, so the thing that I think is interesting is, and obviously this is DraftKings specific since that's the only site that has this game, but you have Tanaka and you have Gibson in the mid-range that if you combine them, you're paying $15,700 at pitcher, or you have Clevenger plus one of two 4K pitchers that are in brutal matchups, but that's 15,000 and 500 or $400. So basically the same salary to get two mid-range arms, Tanaka and Gibson, or to get Clevenger plus a minimum salary pitcher. I think I would lean towards the Clevenger route just because I don't think it's surprising at all if Clevenger outscores Tanaka plus Gibson combined. But as far as if I were to go to the mid-range, Tanaka would probably be my favorite arm out of the group.
Okay. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Now, when we're looking at bats here, the New York Yankees are generally always going to have a decent total, regardless of who they're facing, and seemingly doesn't even matter who's hurt. But on this slate, they've got a 5.5 implied total. It's still pretty high. They're Tanaka, by the way, should be mentioned. He's a 222 favorite, and the Angels have a mere 3.6 implied total against him. But let's start with the Yankees here. At home, very, very friendly hitters park. One of the higher totals on the slate, fourth highest on the slate. Big favorites. And Heaney, if he is good, but he's also struggled with the long ball, and he's given him up in bunches on days where he's struggling.
Yeah, he used to be a pitcher that struck guys out and got strike and gave up home runs. Now he kind of just gives up home runs. I don't really know how to target that with the Angels outside of I do think it's a good spot for Cole Calhoun. Yankee Stadium, the short porch and right should certainly benefit him, and he's affordable. But and you could I guess make the same argument for Brian Goodwin. But in general, this Angels lineup is just so bad without Trout, Ohtani, and Upton that I don't really know where to go other than those two.
Okay. So, who are your top bats from the Yankees?
From the Yankees, Stanton, obviously, Voit, DJ, and then Urshela. It's not a pretty lineup. I mean, in tournaments, don't sleep on Clint Frazier. He's 3,500. He's batting.
I'm not.
Yeah, I mean, the guy's got power. He's batting eighth, so he's not going to get a ton of ownership. That's the kind of play that you can make in tournaments that can put you over the top because he does have that kind of upside.
All right. Anything else you want to move on to Baltimore?
Keep going to Baltimore.
All right. So we've got Wilmer Font and Anthony Kay is your probable long reliever here coming in for some bulk innings. And then Gabriel Ynoa, who is really not been strong at all this season. I don't think that's much of a surprise. If you pitch for Baltimore, you're likely not going to be great. I mean, honestly, he hasn't been god awful, but he's been pretty bad. And the guy gets no strikeouts. I mean, he has 61 strikeouts in 100 innings this season, which is pretty wild. Is it reasonable to assume that you aren't into pitchers here?
Somewhat. I did write
Kay going to throw enough pitches?
Well, I wrote up Ynoa in the deep dive today
just
because he's 4K on DraftKings. Don't need him on Yahoo. Sure as hell don't need him on FanDuel. But he's 4K, and he's probably – I think he has the ability to throw, 70 pitches. He's probably not going to go deep into the game. He threw 95 or 96 pitches in the beginning of August against the Yankees, but since then, the most pitches he's thrown in a game was 67. It's a really tough matchup against Toronto as far as power goes, and he's given up a 257 expected ISO to lefties, 201 to righties this year. So the fact that there are 8 hitters in this lineup with an ISO above 180 doesn't make me feel very good. I don't really have confidence in him doing well. It's just that when you have a slate like this where you have one clear ace at the top, you also have another very good pitcher at the top in Flaherty, but you have Clevenger at the top, and then a questionable mid-range where you're talking about a guy like Tanaka that strikes out less than 20% of hitters, and a guy like Kyle Gibson that isn't a great strikeout guy either. It's really easy for that mid-range to disappoint, and it just be for your SP2 that you would like to spend as little as possible. So I think Ynoa is at least in play from that standpoint.
All right. Well, what do you see? What do you see Anthony Kay throwing here? He's made 2 starts this season. Each of them came. One last week, one the week before that, 96 and 92 pitches in those games. And he's not starting today, but what do you project him to, how many pitches, knowing that he is completely stretched out?
Yeah, I think it's tough because he is completely stretched out. My best guess would be you get something like 80 to 85, just because normally what we see happen in these situations is that the pitcher kind of loses an inning. Like if Kay starts the game and he's pitching really well, he could give you, 6 innings and throw those 95 pitches. Whereas, let's say he comes in the second inning, even if he's pitching really well, he's probably not going to pitch in like the eighth inning. So it kind of takes that last inning off the table for a lot of guys.
Okay, so do you have any interest?
Not really. He's not super cheap. He's 7,400 on DraftKings. So, he'd be like a Tanaka pivot, but I have Tanaka ahead of him. The O's have a 5 implied run total. They're running out a pretty good lineup today. Mark Trumbo's back. Renato Nunez is back. VR, Alberto, Mancini, Santander are the top 4 hitters. They're all above average hitters. Nunez has power. Trumbo's fine. Austin Hayes is one of their top hitting prospects. This is about as good as it gets for an Orioles lineup. So I don't really see the need to get there because it's not like he's minimum priced or anything like that.
Oh, well, that would bring me to my next question then. Do you like Orioles hitters here?
Yeah, I like the bats from both sides in this game. The only real negative is that it's only 70 degrees in Baltimore, so Camden Yards plays a bit bigger this time of year when it's not hot and humid like it has been all summer. But yeah, I think that there's a really nice combination of value and power on both sides of this game, really. VR has some pop. Mancini, Santander, Nunez, Trumbo, Hayes, those guys all have power. Alberto doesn't have a ton of power, but he's an above average hitter.
Right.
So that's actually 7 guys in the Baltimore lineup that you can put in your lineup and actually not feel terrible about it. And then on the other side, the top 8 hitters in the Toronto lineup have an ISO of at least 180 against right-handed pitching. The 9th hitter is Derek Fisher, who is a prospect. So it's not like he's a terrible hitter either. And the most expensive, the top of the order here is expensive with Bichette, Biggio, and Gurriel, but then it drops off, 4,100 for Guerrero, 3,900 for Smoke. Those are both really solid values too. So I think that if I were limited to taking hitters from one game today, it would be this game.
Really?
For okay. Like factoring in both sides, yeah.
So you said if you were limited to taking hitters from one game, right?
Yeah.
Meaning, okay. That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, just looking now at what we have in terms of run totals, the Blue Jays are at 5-6, and the Orioles are at 5 as well. So both of them project pretty nicely from a Vegas standpoint as well. It makes sense to me. You rattled off a bunch of names there, and you even narrowed it down to if this was the one game that you could choose. If you were restricted to one game, this would be it. Give me your top bats from each side, even if it's just a couple.
So I think in cash, Alberto from the Baltimore side, he's batting second. He's inexpensive. He doesn't strike out. He doesn't really walk. So really, really good cash option. I think Santander is my favorite tournament option from Baltimore because he's the best combination of power and salary. From the other side, I think that Guerrero and Smoke would be my 2 favorites because they both have a lot of power and they're both cheap. But I also think Reese McGuire is worth pointing out because catcher on this slate is absolutely awful, and he's got a nice matchup against the Orioles.
Yeah, man, they bailed me out pretty big last night in that 9th inning. My God. Gritcher, I think Gritcher hit a grand slam.
Yeah, he did. The Orioles blew a 9-5 or 9-6 ninth inning.
9-5, yeah. It was 9-5. But catcher's a pretty weak position when it comes to hitting every night, especially on a 5-gamer. I mean, Adam, Reese McGuire is actually hitting pretty well. I know we don't have a ton of plate appearances, slightly above 80, but he's batting .325. Being able to get on base is important, and he's got enough power at a bad position to where I think he's in play. But to be fair, it's not like you don't have to pay for him either. He is one of the more expensive catchers. So I'm with you there. I like this game as well. What about Chicago and St. Louis, where we've got Jack Flaherty and Kyle Hendricks? Looking at the Vegas implied totals here, you got Chicago at 3-7 against Flaherty and against Kyle Hendricks 3-8 for St. Louis. So 2 of the 4 lowest implied totals on this slate. What are your thoughts here on pitching?
2 pitchers I have respect for, one from a DFS standpoint, and one more so from a real life standpoint. But so Kyle Hendricks, not a great strikeout pitcher. He's expensive on DraftKings at 9,800. He's more reasonable on Yahoo at $38. I think that you could make an argument for him there. Like I would still rather go to Gibson at 32. But you don't have Tanaka on the slate, so I think Hendricks is fine on Yahoo. But on DraftKings, I'm not really interested in paying 9,800 for him. On FanDuel, he's 8,800. I don't see getting there when Gibson's 7,300. So Yahoo, I think he's fine. Everywhere else, a bit too expensive for me. Flaherty on the other side, though, is interesting because he's been really, really good. He started throwing his slider more around the middle or the end of June. It's been something that's made him a lot better against lefties. His strikeout percentage from the start of the season and through the end of June was 21% to left-handed hitters. Since then, it's a little over 26%. Overall, it's gone from about 26.2% to a little over 32%. So the numbers have gotten much, much better. The problem is that on all sites, really, he's close in salary to Mike Clevinger. And Flaherty's got such a tough matchup against the Cubs. You don't have Anthony Rizzo, you don't have Javi Baez in the lineup, but it's still a tough lineup. Not a ton of strikeouts in it, a lot of power, to where you need a sizable ownership gap between him and Clevinger to really consider it. Right now, we have on DraftKings Clevinger at 47%, Flaherty at 20%. I think that's in the ballpark where you could start to maybe get some Flaherty lineups, but I still think I would lean towards just getting more Clevinger. So that's what makes it hard to get to Flaherty. I do think on Yahoo you probably can pair them though, because there are so many minimum price hitters.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, Clevenger just feels like he is far and away the top pitching option tonight.
Right. The thing is, and I mentioned it on the podcast last night, even if you were to just take Flaherty's numbers since he started throwing his slider more, which have been excellent, the ones that I rattled off a minute ago, one, that's still kind of a flawed philosophy because you're just excluding previous games. But even if you were just to take those, they're still not even in the same ballpark as what Clevenger's doing this year, especially when you consider that most of Clevenger's starts come against a designated hitter and most of Flaherty's don't. When you add it in that context, Clevenger's still just been so much better. And then he has the much better matchup tonight, to where it's really tough for me to be getting Flaherty in lineups over Clevenger at a similar price point.
Yeah, no question about it. And it's not even like with Flaherty, you say, all right, well, he's the type of guy that can go out there and drop 40 fantasy points. He is, but so is Clevenger, if not more. I mean, look, you're talking about these improvements and adjustments that Flaherty's made. They're significant. Like, he's been outstanding. After a start to the season that was, pedestrian at best for what we expected from him. In general, he was still solid, but given the type of Jack Flaherty that we were expecting to see this season, building off of a quality year last season, he's been really good. Just to recap here, where would you play him? Where would you not play him? Is a site specific, like, look at it this way. Flaherty's 10-9 on FanDuel, 11-8, and Clevenger's 11-8. Clevenger is only $400 more than Flaherty on FanDuel. That just seems really difficult to get to. And then Flaherty's 49 on Yahoo and Clevenger's 55.
I think he's easiest to play on Yahoo because I think that you can get Clevenger plus Flaherty relatively easily.
Okay.
Like if you look at the Orioles.
Really?
So like just looking at the Orioles, Trumbo, Hayes, and Wins are all $7. Real Ruiz is $10. Anthony Santander is $12. Nunez is $14. If you put them together on Yahoo, you get an average of $12 per lineup. So you can just pretty easily make it work because they have so many cheap hitters. And that was just from the Orioles. Like you can look to other teams and do the same thing. On FanDuel, the $900 gap, I think normally you'll be able to just get the Clevenger, but there will be some lineups where you just can't quite make it work, which is fine. But Clevenger obviously is the priority. DraftKings, where it's only $400, I think it's really, really tough to play Flaherty. So I'd say Yahoo's the easiest site to play him on.
Okay, fair enough. Talk to me about bats. It's obviously two really quality pitchers, but with only 5 games, we got to dig a little deeper.
Yeah, I think that the Cardinals pricing on DraftKings is really appealing. It's a team where I would pay close attention to the top stack tool, because if they're getting a lot of ownership because of how cheap they are, I wouldn't want to be there. And that looks like it's the case right now. On DraftKings, we have them getting nearly double the ownership that they should, judging by their top stack percentage. But you do have, Paul DeJong, I think, is the top value at shortstop at 3,600. Marcelo Ozuna at 4,200 is a great value. Same goes for Goldschmidt at 4K. Fowler's 3,600. Molina's 3,100. It's a really, really cheap team where you can plug in some good hitters to, at least kind of offset the cost of some more expensive stacks. Tough matchup against Hendricks, but someone that does let you put the ball in play. So the cheap salaries there are appealing. As far as the Cubs side, you still prefer lefties to righties against Flaherty, even though he has made those improvements. He's still not as good against lefties. So $4,200 Kyle Schwarber hitting cleanup is the guy that stands out the most from the Cubs.
Okay, and just a quick update on weather. There is no wind here. It's Wrigley, so we always have to pay attention to it. Weather's pretty neutral, around 78 degrees at first pitch. So really nothing that's going to sway decisions one way or the other. Anything else?
Nope.
All right, let's talk about Cleveland, Detroit. Mike Clevenger, flat out stud. Daniel Norris opening, Drew Verhagen expected to get the bulk of the innings coming in after him. But yeah, I mean, when you look at Clevenger, you look where he stacks up against pitchers on this slate. Actually, you could say almost any slate, right? Like 35% K rate. Flaherty's been great, 29.5. Clevenger's at 35. And like you said, Adam, if we were to take what we've seen from Flaherty over the past, couple months maybe, it that would clearly change things. But Clevenger's been doing this since he returned from the DL back in June, early June, late May. He's been amazing. 0.75 home runs per nine, a 1.02 whip, and a 299 xFIP. It's not just the strikeouts. He's doing everything. 15.5% swinging strike rate, 119 ISO to righties, 139 to lefties. Like across the board, man. It's just been a spectacular season from Mike Clevenger, and now he gets a splendid matchup with the Detroit Tigers, who are unsurprisingly running out a lineup that probably wouldn't scare kids in the Little League World Series. I mean, Victor Reyes, Castro, Miggy, you gotta love Miggy, but he's cooked. Kristen Stewart's like the one guy where you say, okay, good player. Heimer Candelario, who's already been sent down and brought up this year. He was so bad. Jordy Mercer, Del Lugo, Grayson Griner, Willie Castro. I mean, it doesn't get a whole lot worse than this.
Yeah, if you're looking for a negative for Clevenger, all you can really point to here is that there's more lefties than righties in this lineup, and he's only struck out 29% of lefties compared to 42.5% of righties this year. And also, there's not a ton of strikeouts. There's plenty, but by Detroit standards, there's not a ton of strikeouts. Like if you go down the lineup, Victor Reyes is at 20%, Harold Castro is only 22%, Miggy's 18.8%, Stewart's 23%, Jordy Mercer's 21%, Doel Lugo's 19.7%. You get plenty from Griner, Willie Castro, Candelario, but by Tiger standards, it's not the best strikeout lineup. That being said,
real quick, I just want to kind of further your point that you made. If you were looking for a reason to say go to Flaherty instead of Clevenger, it would be that Flaherty's, as you mentioned, both of them strike out a ton of righties. Flaherty's at 34.8%. And the Cubs are only running out 3 lefties here, and those are Schwarber, Caratini, and Hayward. So I guess that could actually further along maybe to make an argument for Flaherty. But go ahead.
Zobrist, too. The Cubs have 4.
Oh, that's right. He's at the top switching. Okay, you're right.
You forget him as a hitter, but doesn't strike out a lot.
Right.
But yeah, no, I mean, it's so like if you wanted a negative, if you are on the fence, if you're like, I really want to play the ownership game and play Flaherty here, but I don't see how Clevenger doesn't score 40 points, that would be why. It's that, the Tigers do have a lineup of guys that are somewhat competent at putting the baseball in play, not doing anything productive with it, but putting it in play. So that said, I don't really care. Clevenger strikes out everyone. He's just so much better than any hitter in this lineup, and I expect that he'll be able to have his way with them. So still just easily my number 1 pitcher on the slate.
Okay. Drew Verhagen on the other side, Daniel Norris opening. What are your thoughts on this Cleveland offense? And while we're talking about it, talk to me about what the best way you think would be to make stacks and make lineups, assuming that you are going to be paying a premium for Clevenger, and who your second pitcher would be worked in there with him, just to get some general lineup construction thoughts here on the show.
Yeah, so I think that roster construction-wise, so on FanDuel, obviously it's just the 1 pitcher. On Yahoo, it's not going to be that hard to get either Clevenger plus Hendricks or Clevenger plus Flaherty. On DraftKings, I think that in most stacks, you're going to, like I said earlier, you're either going to end up getting 2 mid-range pitchers or getting Clevenger plus a terrifying minimum salary pitcher. Mike Montgomery is my favorite out of those. We'll talk about it when we get there. But I think roster construction-wise, that's probably how it's going to go. I think that it would be tough to get Clevenger plus Tanaka or Clevenger plus Gibson and still get bats that you like. The Orioles are cheap enough you can do it there, probably. But then you're just going to have a lineup that a bunch of other people have also. So I think the roster construction-wise, the way I see it right now, at least, is that you're probably on DraftKings looking to spend around 15.5K at pitcher in tournaments. It's just a matter of how you do it.
Okay. Yeah, that I don't really see many ways around it either. What are you doing with Cleveland then?
Yeah, I think that it's an interesting spot because Norris isn't great, Drew Verhagen isn't great. The downside is that we know that it's just more difficult to hit when you're facing a new pitcher every time you're at bat or after a couple of bats. So that's not great. And then also, I don't know what to expect from Jordan Luplow. He's getting the start, batting fifth. He's 5K, so it's not like we're at a price point where you're happy if or you can live with getting a couple of bats from him. I don't know if they're going to pinch hit when Drew Verhagen comes in or not. Obviously, they have a million guys on their bench that they could do it with, or they could just leave them in. So I don't know, but there's at least some risk there. But I do like that Franmil Reyes is back in the lineup. Yasiel Puig's still really cheap. Lindor and Santana will have the platoon advantage against any pitcher that they face, obviously. So I think building some stacks around like Lindor, Santana, Puig, Reyes, and then just rotating through the rest of the guys makes sense.
All right. Fair enough. Nothing for Detroit. We move on.
Yep.
All right. Hey, awesomemode.com/join is where you want to go, where you need to go if you want to get 50% off your first month. If you come here and you enjoy the free videos and the free live streams, well, we welcome you. And obviously, you're welcome back every single day. But if you want to take it a step further, you want to get the tools that the top DFS player in the world has. It's Awesemo, Alex Baker himself, that he has developed and uses every day that are on the site. Use the sign-up code Deeper Dive, one word, gets you 50% off your first month of Awesemo Plus membership. That includes ownership projections, player projections, the top stack tool, which we have for football now too, not just baseball. We're developing some awesome stuff coming up for basketball, stuff that I'm very excited about, and everyone will be excited once they see what we've got cooking. Of course, all the premium articles, the lineup builder, the fantasy cruncher add-on, and a whole lot more. Go ahead to awesomemode.com/join. You can see everything that's included in all of these plans before you buy them. Even some videos explaining just what the tools are to see if you want to use them before you jump in. So yeah, the promo code, the sign-up code is Deeper Dive. One word, get you 50% off your first month. And if you're not ready to do that, create a free account, check out some of our free articles, or check out our Express Pass, which is $3.95 a week. You go to our awesemo.com/join. You can see everything that it includes. So it might be something you're interested in if you don't feel like jumping into the full all access month. But if you do, Deeper Dive, one word, 50% off. All right, man. Minnesota, Kansas City, Mike Montgomery, Kyle Gibson. You just alluded to Mike Montgomery being someone you're interested in. But before that, talk to me about Kyle Gibson here in a home matchup with Kansas City.
Yeah, our boy Kyle Gibson. He's in a decent spot. Kansas City has a 3.9 implied run total. There are only 4 righties in the lineup. I was hoping Kansas City would throw an extra 1 or 2 in there. He struck out about 24.5% of righties this year compared to 18% of lefties. That's obviously not great when you're facing 5 lefties. But they're not the best lefties either. Sorry, I had those numbers off. 24.8% to righties, 19.9 to lefties.
Okay.
But the one thing that I do like is that out of the 5 hitters in this lineup that are actually average to above average, 3 of them are right-handed in Merrifield, Soler, and Dozier. And then Adalberto Mondesi does strike out a lot. So that does give him some strikeout upside. Ryan McBroom is right-handed as well. Valoria strikes out. So there are some strikeouts here. And he has the ability. Like, he has good breaking stuff. He can get swings and misses. He can get strikeouts. It's just that he doesn't generally seem to make that a priority in his pitching. So that can be frustrating for DFS. I think that he's priced pretty much where he should be. So again, I think he's a good mid-range play. I would put him a little bit behind Tanaka on DraftKings since he's less expensive. I think $32 on Yahoo is a great play. Really easy to pair him with Clevenger. So yeah, a good play, but I think just from a roster construction standpoint, I probably would come in underweight on actually I probably would end up coming in around 20, 25%, which right now we have him projected at 24% on DraftKings.
Okay. What are you doing with Montgomery then?
So Montgomery's really interesting. We have him projected, and this is DraftKings specific. He's unnecessary on FanDuel and Yahoo, but we have him projected for 23% ownership on DraftKings right now. That would scare me if that's where he comes in. But I think there's a good chance that comes down as the ownership projections change, because I think he's a really, really good play from a roster construction standpoint. I don't think that he projects all that well for a lot of people, or that people are going to be willing to put him in their lineup against the Twins. So I think that you could see that number come down a bit to like the 12 to 15% mark, where I'm happy with it. It's obviously a tough matchup against the Twins. They have a really good team. Mitch Garver's back in the lineup. Still no CJ Cron, but not a lot of strikeouts, tons of power. We all know how good Minnesota is. The reason I'm interested in Montgomery is that he's minimum priced and he's fully stretched out. To me, a minimum price pitcher is Gabriel Ynoa, a guy where you're going to get like 70 pitches. He has a 5.8 SIERA. He strikes out like 10% of hitters. Montgomery, as a starter this year in 11 starts for Kansas City, has an 18.5% strikeout percentage. He has a 4.56 SIERA. Those aren't great, but they're better than absolute minimum. He has, if he qualified as a starter, his 36.2% O swing percentage would be behind it would be seventh. It would be behind DeGrom, Strasburg, Verlander, Tanaka, Ryu, and Berrios. And while that's one stat, and it doesn't mean that he's going to start striking out a million people, it is important because it means he's obviously getting a ton of swings on pitches out of the zone, which not only can lead to more strikeouts, but it leads to more weak contact. It leads to him being ahead in counts more, which also leads to more weak contact. And he also has a 54.1% ground ball percentage this year. So he's got a lot of things that he does well that make you think that he can pay off this price tag and has some reasonable chance of success, even in a tough matchup. Like, I think he should be 5K or 5,200, but at 4K, I think he's underpriced. And I think that he lets you get Clevenger into your lineup in a way that also lets you have money to spend on bats.
So would you say it's pretty likely that your most popular pitcher combo will be Mike Clevenger and Mike Montgomery?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I guess it's tough to get away from that, even if you're not really confident. And what, like you said, the other guy would be Gabriel Ynoa. Who else other than that? I mean, Drew Verhagen.
Right.
But and I have no idea what his pitch count's going to look like, how long he'll be able to go. It seems that he's been, out of this relief role anywhere between like 55 and 65 or something in that range. So I don't know. It's tough. And then you get up to and he's not even like Verhagen's cheap. Once you get past that, it's Anthony K and Tanaka and all of them. I think you mentioned it earlier. Is Tanaka your favorite mid-range guy?
It's really close between him and Gibson. I would give him the edge just because he's $700 less on DraftKings, where he's on the slate.
Okay.
But yeah. So and here's the thing: you can just kind of think through it from a roster or a roster construction standpoint. And even you mentioned Verhagen; he's 25% more expensive than Montgomery. So it's not even like he's the same. But if you put in Clevenger and Montgomery on DraftKings, you get $4,325 per hitter. If you go Clevenger to Tanaka, you're down to $3,887. You can definitely make that work with some teams, building around the Orioles, building around maybe the cheaper Blue Jays. You can make it work, but you're also, when you play that combination, you've limited the options you can get to, which makes it so you are sharing a lot of players with other people that play that same combination, which I think will be a reasonably popular combination. When you play Montgomery, you give yourself more room to maneuver and better bats to get in. So I think that my preferred salary range in tournaments at pitcher would be either like one of Clevenger, Flaherty plus one of the 4K pitchers, or two of Tanaka, Gibson, K. And I just prefer the Clevenger combos.
Okay, and I would imagine the answer is a resounding no, but I'll ask anyway. Montgomery right now projected at 13%. Projected at 8. Verhagen projected at 5. That's on DraftKings. I'm only talking two pitcher sites here. And then on Yahoo, it's a little bit different. Mike Montgomery is coming in at 0.3%, but that's because he's not minimum salary. He's $30. Drew Verhagen coming in at 0.1%. He's $27. And then weighing in at 1% at minimum salary. The question I have here isn't which one of these guys would you prefer there, but is there a need to get that cheap on Yahoo today when you had already mentioned that you think it's actually feasible to play Clevenger and Flaherty in lineups if necessary?
Yeah, I don't think any of Ynoa, Montgomery, any of these guys are necessary on any site except for DraftKings.
Right.
Also, I
Yeah,
think
I
that
think you're right.
I laughed because you said Montgomery's 13% on DraftKings. We just refreshed the ownership like right before you said that. So I looked at it and it was 24%. And I said that I think he ends up between 12 and 15. And it
Yeah, you
refreshed
did. Perfect. Perfect. Yeah. Oh, that's right. Look, it says 35 seconds ago
Yeah.
when I had done it. So yeah, that's what you got him at right now, around 13%. That's a big drop from 24.
Yeah. And I think it's really just that um people aren't going to want to play the guy, and I understand it. I don't blame them, but I think that's kind of a flaw people have, is that we overestimate our opinion to or our ability to predict, you know, how likely someone is to succeed, or what their like range of outcomes really is, and we just like, oh, this guy can't have success against Minnesota, even though he does make my lineup way better than doing this other thing.
What are you doing with bats in this game?
Minnesota, I mean, obviously, if you're not playing Montgomery, Minnesota is a good stack. This is another reason why I think Montgomery is actually a good tournament play, because Minnesota clearly is a good team to go to. They're going to get ownership. They have a 6.2 implied run total. They're expensive. So I don't, I guess if you're playing Minnesota, like if you're stacking Minnesota, you're probably going the like Gibson plus Tanaka route or something like that. Um, it's a fine spot. Kansas City's bullpen's not any good. Montgomery doesn't get a ton of strikeouts. He certainly can get blown up by a team that has one of the best offenses in baseball. On the Kansas City side, I'm much less interested, just because I think Gibson's decent, and I don't think Kansas City's all that favorably priced.
All right. Yeah, I would say just knowing that Minnesota right now has a 6.2 run implied total, it's hard to believe that. And I'm refreshing now to see what top stacks look like. We got a couple minutes here before we turn it over to the live before lock crew. On today's show, you got Josh Engelman and Jake Hari taking you up till 6:35 lock, 6:35 on DraftKings, 7:05 on FanDuel and Yahoo, and of course the NFL Live Before Lock show presented by Fantasy Draft. We've got Alex Baker, Nolan Kelly, and my man Ben Rasa for tonight's NFL showdown slate between the Jags and Titans. That should be a real barn burner. I'm going to watch anyway and I'm going to play, but my God, what a disgusting game that is. Okay. Pulled it up now and we have top stack owner or top stack probability. This should come as no surprise, Adam. It is Minnesota at 20%. Ownership, they're also at the top at 16.9%. But how about this? Toronto second, and you can check this out in full at awesomeo.com. Like I said, deeper dive is the sign up code, awesomeo.com/join. I'll get you 50% off your first month. Toronto, 19.4% top stack chance. That's second highest. And ownership at only 13%. So that's pretty significant.
Yeah, really surprised that Toronto is not getting more ownership. I think that with how things stand right now, they would be my favorite stack on DraftKings, because Minnesota, Minnesota's a little bit underowned, but they are still getting more ownership than Toronto. But if I go to Toronto, I can go with my preferred pairing of Clevenger plus Montgomery, get to basically whatever Toronto stacks I want. Like if I put Clevenger, Montgomery, Biggio, and Bichette, who are the two really expensive Toronto guys, into my lineup, I still have 39.83 left per position. So that basically means that I can stack Toronto whatever five guys I want with the two pitchers I want, and they're coming in on their own. So that's pretty appealing to me if it stays that way.
Okay. So we got a minute here, and I just want to ask this last question of you. I think we've pretty much covered it all outside of the actual games, but really breaking down the way your lineups will look today. Clevenger clearly getting the most ownership on DraftKings, on FanDuel, on Yahoo. But then, and I want to hold your feet to the fire here. You talked about Tanaka and Gibson. They're both getting a lot of ownership. Andrew Heaney's way down there. Flaherty's quite a bit lower. Does ownership here do anything to change your opinions anywhere before we head out?
No, it's what I expected, and it's just so I think the way that mine shakes out would be more we like getting more Clevenger, probably getting around or a little bit more than the 20% Flaherty, but then getting more Montgomery and getting a bit more Inoa than 8%, and taking some Tanaka and Gibson ownership away and giving it to like Clevenger, Montgomery.
Okay. Anything else before we head out for the day?
Nope.
All right, that'll do it for us. Thanks as always for hanging out. If you enjoyed the show, you want to see more, and you want to help support us, the site and our channel at awesomemode.com, so we can continue to provide free content for you each and every day. For you lovely people, hit us with a thumbs up and like that video. Subscribe, hit the notification bell as well, and stick around right here. You don't have to go to the channel homepage. You stay right here. Josh will play you some cool elevator music as we lead up to Live Before Lock with Engelman and Jake Hari. It's been fun. Good luck tonight. We'll see you back here tomorrow on the Deeper Dive.
Live. We are live. What's up, everybody? Live Before Lock, Thursday, September 19th. A lovely 5-game slate staring us in the face. Jake, we back again.
Yeah, it feels like we've done this once or twice this week. And we've got a couple more, me and you.
We do.
So, should be fun. 5 games. Just got done watching the Deeper Dive. I'm sure with everyone here watching. Fun time in sports. So, why not talk about baseball?
I need to figure out why I just got 30-something% of Austin wins in my crunch. So, we'll have a lot to talk about, I guess. Let's get the plugs out of the way to start. Live Before Lock. One big word. That is the promo code if you want to get 50% off your first month of Awesemo Plus. You can come check out everything that we have to offer. I run through the sports all the time, but baseball, NBA soon, NHL, PGA, NFL, NASCAR, MMA. But the list goes on and on. Sports betting. We're covering it all. We've got an NFL showdown show coming up immediately after this. Well, not immediately after this, but at 7:30 with the boss man, Alex Baker, Nolan Kelly, and Ben Rasa. So if you want to check out all the content that we're creating for just Showdown tonight, use the promo code Live Before Lock. One big word. And we are brought to you on all Live Before Locks by Fantasydraft. If you have any interest at all in playing rake-free DFS, this is the spot to be, guys. They're running the $750,000 guaranteed rake-free contest, the Hooters main event. It's the largest rake-free contest you'll find anywhere in the industry. 100% of entry fees get paid out to the winners. If you want to sign up, go to fantasydraft.com. Use the promo code AWESEMO. You can get a 7-day free trial. Don't think twice, guys. Just go get in it. It's a great contest. If you're playing week 3 in the NFL, you should be putting your money there. Jake,
That's right.
How much Clevenger is too much Clevenger?
I mean, 100% sounds great in theory. I don't think it's quite going to be at 100%. So I'm playing on Fantasy Draft only tonight. No DraftKings for me. I've got preseason NHL over there and Showdown. So decided to just play Fantasy Draft for MLB. Keep the CSVs in order.
There you go.
I crunched out 100 lineups on Fantasy Draft, and I got to 60% Clevenger.
I have slightly more than that.
Are you closer to 100?
Give or take.
Where are you at? 90?
I'm like a really nice personal temperature. I am 98.4.
Oh boy. So essentially,
right now, I'm obviously going to make a couple tweaks. We got some time, but yeah.
So essentially, all in. That's DraftKings, correct?
That is DraftKings, correct?
Okay. Yeah, a little bit different across the sites. On FanDuel, like, he would be my number one guy by good margin. He's going to be in close to half the lineups, but I don't really see a reason to get away from him on a one-pitcher site. Fantasy Draft, DraftKings, I think there's at least a case to be made to just go elsewhere, not even saying there's any indictment on Clevenger himself, but just for what he allows you to get, as we talked about on the strategy show, as the other guys talked about in Deeper Dive. That would be the only reason to get off of him.
I just made a couple tweaks. I wanted to get a little bit more Yankees exposure, so Clevenger's tumbling down now to 88.9.
Wow. Fraud. I think if I was crunching out on DK, it would probably be in the 70% range.
Okay.
So 30% of my lineup, and I don't think I would have much of any Flaherty, just because the difference in points is pretty high, pretty good margin. The difference in ownership, to me, isn't large enough right now for me to want to get to Flaherty. He's about half the ownership of Clevenger on DK, and like, I'll just take the extra 5 points in projection. Is your gap larger than 5 points
between Clevenger and Flaherty?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yours is, you said like 8 or 9 this morning?
It's 9.5 right now.
Yeah. So there you go. I mean, there's no reason to save the 20% ownership. Like, that's not buying you anything. Just take the better play, I think.
Yeah, I'm not that like Flaherty isn't a great player or anything. I just think he's slightly overpriced for the spot. He's clearly a fantastic pitcher. If Mike Clevenger weren't on the slate, Jack Flaherty would be getting the same sort of ownership. He just isn't. No.
Yep. Yeah, exactly right. I was just going to say, what if Clevenger wasn't on this slate? Like, what would we be doing here? People would be hammering Flaherty. And like, if you talk about FanDuel, like, there's not even Tanaka over there. So you're out of luck if you're looking for a mid-tier option that's not Kyle Gibson.
I was going to say Kyle Gibson is your answer.
Yeah, he's the only guy. Like, it's Clevenger and Gibson. I think if I was playing on FanDuel tonight, I would be getting like 90+% between those two guys, and just try to get the right 4-4, 4-3 stack.
Right now, after my tweaking, it's 89% Clevenger, 11% Gibson, 56 Tanaka, 43 Montgomery. That one scares the living crap out of me.
Why wouldn't you have Montgomery though?
I mean, the Twins are good.
The Twins are great.
Yeah.
Twins are awesome, but it's also baseball, and
That's true.
Yeah. So I don't know. Why wouldn't you get the cheap pitcher going against them that if he does well, he's going to knock out some of the field at least. I mean, they could get there later in the later innings, not off Montgomery, and it may not matter, but Montgomery's not even a bad pitcher. We talked about that.
No, he's like a good base. He should not be 4K. He is 4K only because he's facing the Twins, and I still think that's an overreaction.
I agree. There's no reason Montgomery, like, he's just been better than a 4K pitcher the whole season. So they probably just needed to make him 4K to make the salaries work and just open things up a little bit. And that's why you're not seeing Clevenger at 14K like he probably should be. So
yeah, that would. I mean, if he really were 12.5 today, it would make the slate a little bit different for me.
I think it would make it less fun. I think softer pricing is always more fun. Just for it concentrates ownership, which is good for a variance-based sport as well. So I always like softer pricing because harder pricing just forces you to play the plays that everyone else is going to play. Otherwise, you're making really, really suboptimal plays.
This is going to be a fun night. I'm excited for it. So if you're a big fan of Mike Clevenger, go ahead and bait it.
I guess that's my catchphrase. My favorite word or my favorite sentence is "it should be fun." I'm sure I say that a lot. I'm sure I say a lot of things a lot.
Oh, I know. We probably
yeah.
repeat ourselves. So I mean, for a while they were doing like drinking game versions of this stuff because of the things that we would say over and over again. I guess in the NBA, I think I'm really bad about it.
It's just like it's probably the same in real life. Like you just talk to someone enough, you're going to repeat yourself. Or
well, we're talking about the same topic every day. So
yeah, that too.
It's really hard to find descriptive words about the same thing for 180 straight days.
My vocabulary is not expanded enough. I need to read up on some synonyms or something like that.
Talk to Miles in Slack. He loves using extra big words.
He does. Maybe I should talk to Miles. Maybe he can send some synonyms over my way.
Yeah, he sent them my way. That's for sure. If you're flipping a coin between Kyle Gibson and Masahiro Tanaka, where do you want that coin to land?
I think I like Gibson a little bit more. What's so funny?
Lori Dan in YouTube chat said, "Josh, I do not disagree." I guess that's one of my quotes. It sounds super familiar.
We could stop talking baseball, and they could just do that for the rest of these, and they would not run out of, like, Locke would hit before they ran out of catchphrases.
If one of us died today and there was someone out there that had like the technological ability to take all of the audio we've recorded, we could probably just make like an AI host clone of it.
For sure.
Hey Jake, what do you think of Kyle Gibson? I think he's great.
No, it would just be me saying, yeah, Gibson, one of these guys who's just he's more talented than how many DK points he puts up start after start. And he's frustrating and blah, 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 blah.
Or you tell me that you like Gibson and I'll just be like, I do not disagree.
Yeah. You could easily do that, man.
Oh, yeah.
Just need the right tech person.
Have you do you listen to Joe Rogan's podcast at all?
No, everybody tells me I should listen to it. And I don't have time for another podcast, so I don't know where to sneak it in.
Reasonable. I mean, he's done, 1,400 episodes or something, 2-3 hours an episode. So a large amount of audio at this point. And someone took all of the audio and trained like a model and did like 3 or 4 different general speeches just fully made up about like, which is random ass topic. Sounds exactly like him, but it's not him talking. It's fully the computer. I'll have to send you the link for it. It's nuts.
Well, you've seen
fully
like
made up just based on everything he's ever talked about. All of the topics, it just creates its own conversation.
Right. That also something not related to baseball. We'll get back to that in just a second.
We got time.
The deep fakes.
Yeah.
You've seen those?
Yeah. It's
that's
amazing.
Terrifying.
It's amazing.
Yeah, that's scary stuff.
The reason I don't care is that there's no way it's ever going to matter to me. By the time it gets to me, I mean, we're going to know about it for a while.
Yeah, exactly. Go watch clips on YouTube, Jake. Easy way to digest. Yeah, I've seen the studio. Like I've seen clips of it and stuff, and but I haven't like fully committed to like listening to. How many podcasts do you do a week? A couple?
4 probably, depending on the week.
Wow.
Yeah,
Jeez.
maybe more.
I got a lot of catching
and they're usually
up.
like 3 hours long.
Yeah, I knew that. Like I've heard ones with Alex Jones and
Yeah.
Yeah.
If he ever has a hockey player on, I'll make sure to let you know.
All right, cool.
Are you getting to anybody that we haven't been talking about? Hendricks, Heaney, Anthony K, Verhagen, any of those guys?
None of. Well, actually, I did get to some Heaney, but I think that was just a product of capping.
Okay.
So if I take out my top 100, if I cut out the bottom 50 or so, actually, let me just take like the top 33 or 40. Got to cut this down to 15. Then yeah, I don't get like any Heaney. So
okay,
it's just because I was trying to get a bunch of different combos.
Sure.
That I got to 13% of him. I might get to like 1 share out of 15 lineups with Heaney, but I guess it's a more favorable spot than we anticipated earlier today. A little bit of a watered down Yanks lineup, but it's still not a good one. It's still a high total. You can play Montgomery. You can play Inoa for cheaper. So I'm more interested in that.
Okay. Anything else we want to touch on from pitching here? I think it's just, I mean, for me, I'm just going essentially all the way in to Mike Clevinger. I need a lot of Tanaka, and I hope that Mike Montgomery can stifle the Twins for 4 innings and get the hell out of there.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm slightly fading the Twins as well, but we'll get there.
If he had 12 I guess what would be the number? Like, what would be the number of points you would want him to have after 4 innings to where you would say, all right, get him out of the game. I don't want more like possible upside. I don't want him getting shelled.
I have him projected for 8. So
if he got to 8
would work, I guess.
So if he got to 2 points per inning,
yeah,
I think it would be around there. I was going to say like 11 or 12, but you would easily take that. Like I'd take that right now and just lock him.
I mean, the downside is -10 here.
Oh yeah, easy.
Like he can exit this game in 5 batters.
Yeah, it's definitely possible.
Single grand slam is not out of the realm of possibility against the Twins.
Yeah, let's see here. I mean, Garver is the greatest hitter of all time, so 5,600 for him. It'll probably just be 4 dongs right in a row. Lefty, Rosario knock him out.
Yeah, it doesn't let up, and then Sano comes and sticks the dagger right in my chest.
Oh, did you see Sano's homer 2 nights ago?
I just know that he had one.
Oh my gosh. It was like left center 3rd deck at Target Field.
So good that they should have sent a barrel alert more than once.
Did they do that?
No, I'm just saying like.
Oh, dude, yeah, it was one of the it was like the best contact I've ever seen on a ball, and it just went a mile. Left center too. Like if he would have gotten around on it, he might have hit it out of the stadium, which is nearly impossible at Target Field.
That is craziness. Absolute craziness. Want to move on to hitting, or should we do dong picks now? I don't know when else to do them. We got to get him out of the way some way, right?
Wait, what about Hendricks? Where are you at on him? I guess, but probably 0 if you're playing all that.
I do not have any Hendricks.
Yeah. God,
like flat 0 for real.
I think I'm going to end up at flat 0 out of 15. I think more than likely it's just going to be 70% on Clevinger, and then Gibson, Tanaka, Montgomery, and Inoa. Just keeping it simple with those 5 pitchers on Fantasy Draft.
I get it. I don't blame you. We're on the same page for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
I do not disagree.
There you go.
Staying on brand. Yeah, let's do dong picks. Let's get them out of the way now since we don't have like a natural midpoint. Here are the standings as of right now. EMAC with 31. Jake with 30. I've got 28. Spags on 24. Randone on 11. I am still the leader in the clubhouse in pick rate. Jake slightly ahead of Emac, who is slightly ahead of Spags, who is ahead of Randone. Floor is yours, sir.
It's getting to the end here. No reason to get cute once again. Is this guy seriously? There's two guys I'm considering taking.
I've got mine locked and loaded, and I don't get the sense that you will be taking my guy.
Okay, it's between. Well, I'm not even gonna say it. I'm just gonna pick one, and because I don't want someone else to troll me, and that be the reason why I lose this contest.
Sure.
I will take. I'll take Nelson Cruz.
Okay. I mean, I guess not. That's terrifying still. Fantastic pick, obviously. If you get it, I hope you get it in latter innings, but I'd prefer you don't really get it at all, if I'm being honest, for multiple reasons at this point. So Jake is on the books. Nelly Cruz. One of these days he'll homer for you. Probably going to be today. I've got Randall Grichuk.
Yeah, I wasn't even considering him.
I didn't think you would be.
Puig homering. I like that. Puig is a great call.
Yeah.
What do you guys have Montgomery projected for? Well, you can find that in the osmo.com MLB projections page. But
yes, you can.
Let's see. I think it's
I'm figuring Alex probably has him at like 7.
I think it's between 7 and 8.
Yeah. Just take the Lindor 0 for 5 L. Take Lindor again.
So he was the other guy I was going to take.
Okay.
Yeah.
Franmil Reyes coming in for old Eric McPherson.
All right.
I have a feeling something is going to happen with regards to Dong picks today. Chris Spags is typing. Here comes somebody from the Twins. Oh,
Luplow.
Jordan Luplow. I should have known. Glad he's taking Luplow. I can't wait till he gets pinch hit for in the 3rd inning.
So mean.
So true, though. That I want that to happen. I don't know if it's going to actually happen, but I hope that it does.
Just take Lindor 0 for 5 L. Take Lindor again, Josh. That was me. Well,
I took him the day before that.
Yeah.
And he went 0 for 5. With like 9 left on base.
I was going to take him again today. Just double down.
Double down. Makes me want to go to KFC.
That's a food? Double down?
The double down was the sandwich that they made with chicken breasts as the buns.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
That sounds...
Gluttonous.
It sounds like something I would... What?
Sounds gluttonous?
Yeah. I'm definitely not above that, but I don't know if I would like that. Like, I like bread. Like bread and chicken?
Yeah.
I'd probably give it a shot.
Yeah, I mean, it was fine. I don't miss it.
I take it they don't sell that anymore?
Not that I'm aware of, but if they do, I don't go to KFC all that often, so I don't really know.
I don't think I've ever been to KFC.
That's just not big in the Midwest?
No, there's it's all over the place, I think. But I've never been. Chick-fil-A I've been to. That's like a classier KFC, right? Isn't that what it's branded as?
Yeah, sort of. Chick-fil-A is really good.
Chick-fil-A.
KFC is like, they know what they're doing.
It always looks good.
Flavors are good. Good mashed potatoes.
Yeah, I never get to it.
You're not missing anything.
Jake lives under a rock.
Will
not confirm or deny.
KFC now has the donut chicken with donuts as bread. That's disgusting.
I'd try that.
Top stacks for you right now. I'm going to give you mine. I have 83% of all of my exposure going to the Blue Jays, Indians, Yankees, and Orioles.
Blue Jays, Indians, Yankees, Orioles. So Twins, you're out on?
I have less than half of the field.
All right. Twins are probably going to be my top stack for tonight.
I don't know what to do there because there's clearly going to be a direct relationship between him and Montgomery. I can bump him up. I can bump them up a little bit more, and I think that's probably worth it.
Yeah. So the problem with playing, like, can you get a Twins lineup without Inoa in it?
Find out.
because I'm looking at all my Twins lineups, and Clevenger's going to be forced in there. But unless you're going with Gibson Tanaka, you're probably putting Inoa in your Twins lineup, which is fine.
We're talking like a Twins primary stack here.
Yeah, like a Twins 5-man. Oh, I have 6-mans on Fantasy Draft.
I have 3 4-mans and 1 5-man. None of them have Inoa. It's 2 Clevenger Tanaka and 2 Gibson Tanaka.
Wow.
I'll give you the 5-mans.
Okay.
I'll give you the 5-man. 5-man is Gibson Tanaka with Scope, Sano, Polanco, Cruz, Ryan Lemaire, I guess. Reese McGuire? I don't know. Who's the 5th? Who the hell is the 5th twin?
What do you mean?
I guess it is Lemaire, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, Scope, Sano, Polanco, Cruz, Lemaire, with Dexter Fowler, Reese McGuire, and Justin Smoke.
Yeah, I don't love the one-offs. I guess Smoke and
I like
Fowler.
the Smoke one. He was almost my home run pick.
That is a good pick.
And then I have one with Austin Romine, one with Valoria, Scope in, or I don't know, but Trumbo in 3 of those 4. Santander making an appearance.
Santander.
Yeah. Stanton in one of those lineups. I like that a lot. Clint Frazier, Stanton, and Romine with the 5-man, or with a 4-man Twins that has Trumbo. A lot of home runs there. That one can play correctly.
It absolutely can.
But yeah, I just, most of my Twins exposure is in terms of one-offs. So I have 8 one-offs, 1 5-man, 3 4-mans, and 6 3-mans.
Wow. I'm just full stacking them because you're just knocking Montgomery out if they go off.
Oh yeah,
one way or the other. Yeah.
I mean, if I'm going to be 3 times the field on Montgomery, it's hard to get too much Twins.
I know. I wonder if you could just go like 75 Montgomery lineups, 75 Twins lineups. That would be a profitable strategy on a short slate like this.
It might be, honestly.
It probably wouldn't be. People are probably calling me dumb to their computer screens when I say that, but or something like that, where you're just 2 completely opposite outcomes and you're just going all in on that. And you're just hoping that's the game or that's the matchup that goes nuts one way or the other. If there weren't other good spots on the slate, like Cleveland and the Yankees and the Toronto game, maybe it might be more viable, but who knows?
All right, let me refresh this. So let's hit on the other teams that I'm heavy on. Of the Blue Jays, Indians, Yankees, and Orioles, who don't you like in that spot?
Blue Jays, Indians. Well, I liked the Orioles this morning, but the projections are not getting along with me here.
No.
So Font isn't a guy I like to target. I get that he's only going an inning or 2, but he's one of the annoying openers that's actually good. He strikes guys out at a high clip. I don't like the bottom of the order here for Baltimore.
Okay.
And they're popular. So all those things, like that's the team that's going to get squeezed out to me. It looks like I'm only stacking 4 teams tonight. The ones you mentioned, subtract Baltimore and put in Minnesota. Minnesota's my top stack.
Okay.
So we're going to be, I'm going to have Montgomery for sure, but we're going to be on opposite ends of the spectrum there.
Oh, God. Being like 2.5 times the field, I'm anxious to see where Adam comes in on Montgomery and Clevenger for that matter.
Yeah.
What do you do with the Royals? They're a team picking up a lot of ownership. They're actually 2nd in ownership right now. Although we might have gotten an update since.
I like Mondesi. I like Soler and Mondesi. I like Soler and Merrifield. Really, they're top 5. Their top 5 is solid. Gibson is a guy who seems to fall apart oftentimes, especially when you're on him. And What's Gibson's ownership right now? Yeah,
Gibson's ownership
third highest owned pitcher.
28.
Yeah. So I think if I'm on DraftKings, I like Gibson a little bit better than Tanaka, especially when you factor in the ownership. But I would rather stack against Gibson than Tanaka here. There's just actual good hitters on KC, and I'm not sure we have any guy I'm excited to play on the Angels here.
Yeah, Angels lineup is a real tough sell. I thought about wanting to go to more, and it was just like, how could I justify this?
Right.
Spoiler alert, I couldn't.
It's bad.
I just refreshed ownership, and it's kind of throwing me for a loop a little bit, so I'm trying to make some tweaks. I want to make... There we go. Perfect. I'm right where I want to be now. What?
Anything weird on ownership?
I think that the Indians came down a little bit. I wasn't getting them as much. So now on my refresh, 92 Clevenger, 13 Gibson, 57 Tanaka, 35 Montgomery. Still with 83% of my exposure to Blue Jays, Indians, Yankees, Orioles.
Okay. Seems like about the... I mean, I can't argue with any of those numbers. I can't disagree. Or what's the catchphrase? What's the catchphrase?
I don't disagree. I don't disagree.
I don't disagree.
I have
I don't disagree.
6% Twins. I think that I can bump that up a little bit. I'd like to get like 8 maybe. Okay, perfect. 8% Twins now.
That's where I would be at as well.
And then I have 6% Royals. That piece I feel a little wrong about.
Why do you feel wrong about that?
I don't think they're very good.
Well, like I said, they're top. Half their lineup's good.
That's true.
Or good enough, at least.
All right, I'm going to paste these lineups in. I'm sticking with it. 7% Twins, 5% Royals, 5% Cardinals. I have 0 shares of the Tigers. Not mad about that one.
Why would you?
Yeah, not mad about that one.
The only reason... Well, so the only reason that would be viable is just, I guess you get leverage off of Clevenger, but they still have to be decent.
Yeah, you still need them to be one of the top 2 stacks. And
yeah,
what's their top stack percentage right now?
Ooh, I bet
it's got to be brutally low, right?
3 to 5%, somewhere in there.
Wouldn't shock me if it's lower than that.
It is. Oh man, it was 2.2.
Yeah,
that's bad. That's like the lowest I think you'll see on a 5-gamer. They're a minor league team.
They are. They really are. I really like my exposures. I'm not a big fan of my individual hitter exposures right now, but that's going to take a lot more work than I really have time to deal with. Who do you think my most exposed hitter is? If you can name anybody in the top 3, I'll give you some credit. They're not obscure.
Someone has to be. There have to be Blue Jays in there. Your home run pick, Grichuk?
No, but
Smoke.
Also high, but Smoke's 5th. Grichuk
Wow.
is 15th or so.
Unavoidable.
Nope. You were good starting with Blue Jays. You just still didn't name the right Blue Jay. Vlad.
Okay.
Top 3, Lindor, Vlad, Stanton.
It's a pretty good top 3. Mine, you want to guess mine?
Sure. 4th, by the way, Hanser Alberto, so it really falls off a cliff.
No, he's good. He's like competing for the batting title.
That's
Adam
true.
told me that the other day.
True. But, not necessarily in the same class as Stanton Guerrero and Francisco Lindor.
Nah, I think I'd take the other guys first, but it's not bad.
Okay. Who is your most Nelson Cruz? Eddie Rosario.
Cruz is actually 3rd. No, he's 3rd. We have one guy in common
Lindor?
in our top 3. Yeah. You want to guess my highest owned hitter?
Is he on Minnesota?
He's not.
Yankees?
He is.
Clint Frazier.
No.
Okay. Unavoidable?
It is unavoidable.
I knew you were setting me up for it.
Yeah. This guy I got in 10 out of my 15. So
If you were really betting me on that, you were giving me a terrible poker face. The only reason
yeah.
I didn't think it was Voigt, but you just had this shit-eating grin on your face, so I knew that it had to be him.
Your boy, unavoidable.
He is my boy.
Dude, I'm gonna have to up my.
Has he been good this year?
I mean, he won you some money probably early in the season.
You would think. He 133 weighted runs created plus this season.
It's pretty good. All right, what did we just get updated? Ownership. Oh yeah, it is. It is only 6:20 Eastern right now, but
it came in like literally right now, huh?
Yeah.
Do we have 15 minutes yet, right?
Yeah, 15 minutes you got on Draftkings and Fantasy Draft.
Great.
FanDuel, you're at normal time. Would be nice if the sites, coordinated this.
Hey, at least all the lineups are in.
That's true. This is like a turbo slate, essentially.
Kind of is. All right, ownership is in, so I've added that. I'm going to go ahead and refresh everything that I've got here. So first thing we want to do is bump up the Yankees. Perfect. We want to bump up the Twins further. And
NFL top stacks just got updated for anybody that's looking to play some Showdown.
Good looking out.
I didn't know we had an alert for that. We do now. So feel free to look at the NFL top stacks tool. Alex breaks it down. I think he does the chance of being in the top 6. So the chance you're going to need him if you have the nut lineup.
Yeah.
Chance of being the top player, and just a lot of good information there. So I always use that tool for when I play Showdown. Playing Showdown tonight. Spoiler alert, a lot of Leonard Fournette, as everyone else will have. He's going to be like 90% owned. But
I don't know how you do it. I need to start.
Showdown is fun.
It's such an undesirable game.
Let's see. Live at 6:45. Oh, Sal says they're going live at 6:45 Eastern.
Who said that?
Sal.
Is he on the show?
Maybe. Oh, Sal's on his own stream. Okay. That's what I'm thinking of.
Makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah, I was like, okay. He's on his own stream.
Gotcha.
We're at 7:30.
7:30. The Boss Man, Nolan Kelly, Ben Rasa.
Makes sense. What was I talking about? Yeah, Showdown's fun. It's just fun. It's like anything. It's gambling. I get skill gaming. But it's cool to try to figure out the correlations and, building your groups out and seeing which guys negatively correlate and positively correlate to each other. Just a good mind game, I think.
I just realized that I was not playing 150 lineups. I had my selection in for like 68. That's why some of my numbers were a bit more extreme. So, got to change that up a little bit right now.
Yeah.
It's not going to change like the ultimate end game. It's not like I'm going to suddenly have a team I didn't want to have, but I didn't realize that was the case until right now.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, why don't I have more stacks of these teams? I was like, because there's not 150 lineups here.
A third mini max just opened for Showdown. If you're, so I'm in all of those.
Get right on it.
I got to some good amount of volume. Hi guys, I'm in on the home run challenge if you don't mind. Yeah, Tellez. It's a good pick.
I like it.
Guy from our premium Slack just posted. If you guys want to post your picks, I see a couple of you have done that are watching the show. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
We've got the tweet out, Brett or Rinpack. I don't know who tweeted it out, but I'll post that in the YouTube chat. Feel free to respond. Bragging rights. You can root for me when my guy dongs. Nelson Cruz. I'm going to finally get one with him.
Randall Grichuk, baby.
Yeah, you can root for me and Josh. You can root against Spags.
Yeah.
Randone doesn't have a pick yet. You can root against EMAC. Actually, don't root against EMAC. No one can root against EMAC.
Want to bet?
I mean, no one can outwardly do that.
I'm doing it right now. Actively rooting against him. Okay, so now that we have updated ownership, now that I'm actually selecting 150 lineups, unfortunately I wasn't doing that before. I mean, I was putting in 150, but it wasn't any part of my calculations. So still same top 4 stacks: Blue Jays, Indians, Yankees, Orioles. A little bit less than I had before. It was 83%. Now I have like 78. Okay. Clevenger, final number 88. Gibson 15. Tanaka 56. Montgomery 33. Gabriel Ynoa 7. Drew Verhagen 1. Andrew Heaney 1. 9.6% Twins.
Have you ever had it?
5 mans.
I have. All right, I'll go through mine quick. 5 out of 15 Twins, 4 out of 15 Cleveland, 3 Yankees, 3 Blue Jays. Keeping it a pretty tight core.
Yeah. For
my stacks, 6-man on Fantasydraft. Little wrinkle they have over there. Have you ever had it where, like, you play 1% of a guy and that's your lineup that crushes?
Yes.
I've never gone back to look at that, but I always wonder if it's worth playing 1%, like one lineup out of 150 of a guy.
I mean, yes and no. Probably not, but
like,
by the way, Puig is now my 3rd most owned hitter.
Okay. I like that. He's in the top 5 or 6 for me. So I'm right there with you on Puig.
Bingo. What else can we touch on right now? Questions, get them in.
People who want Showdown talk, or they're asking about Showdown.
You're asking the wrong person here. Me, that is.
I would not fade both QBs. I would not do that. I use a QB in almost all of my lineups. But
I'm with you.
It's not like I'm the Showdown King, so do what you want.
The Showdown King will be on in an hour.
That's right. Alex banked $200K last year, $250K. Was it last year in a Showdown?
Yeah.
Solo bink on like a 200,000 entry tournament. Just insane.
The man. He is the man.
He is.
Man with the plan.
Puig is my top 2. That's a pretty smart line. That's a pretty smart person in chat there, Marcos.
I've got 33% Puig as of right now. I'm over the field on every Indians hitter except one. Any guesses?
Luplow.
Yeah. Perfect.
Ooh, that's gonna be a double sting there if he dongs. But it could be a win-win if he gets pinch hit for.
I hope he gets pinch hit for before he even bats once.
No, you still want you don't want him to do nothing though if you got him in stacks.
No,
so
I want him. I would like him to do nothing. I have 1.3%. I would prefer that he just bagels.
Yeah.
Unless that lineup is at the top, at which point I'll trade a Chris Spags home run for a GPP win. But yeah. I don't need it early.
Okay.
Favorite SP2 on Fantasydraft? Jake, I'll give that one to you.
For me, it's Ynoa. It's really close between Ynoa and Montgomery. On the site, we've got Ynoa just slightly better than Montgomery. Actually, wait a minute. Montgomery's actually slightly higher. But when you factor in the ownership, I did filter out for ownership and take the couple highest owned lineups out. So I got a little bit more Ynoa. Plus, I'm playing a lot of Twins, so hard for me to play Montgomery in my Twins stacks. So I prefer Ynoa just a little bit over Montgomery. But those are my 2, Ynoa, Clevenger, and Montgomery, Clevenger are my highest owned pairings.
Montgomery Clevenger, man. I can relate to it. It's I mean, I guess I probably have more Clevenger Tanaka than I have Clevenger Montgomery, but probably pretty close. I should probably look that up too. I mean, I'm not gonna be doing that now, but yeah, get your questions in, guys. It doesn't seem like our YouTube chat is interested in anything regarding baseball.
We still got a full week left. So there's still baseball money to be made, I think.
I hope. We'll find out. I'll let you guys know if there is or not. That's the hope, right?
Yeah. We just got a tweet. Oh, that's your soccer projections. Nice.
Yeah, soccer projections are out for Saturday. Nice EPL slate. 4 games, 5 games, 5 games. Can't remember.
You're asking the wrong guy.
Got to get into it, man. It's the goods.
I've played it a couple times. I've had decent success actually with your projections. So would recommend that if anybody's looking to sign up for the soccer package.
Yeah.
EPL and is it UCL?
Yeah, Champions League as well.
UEFA Champions. Yeah. Are there any? Is there one more?
No,
league?
That's all I'm doing. I mean,
Okay.
I could do a bunch more. Draftkings has been running contests for a couple other leagues, but it's really hard to coordinate that kind of data.
Got it.
International gets kind of tough.
I don't even know where you find stats for that. So
Yeah, all over the place.
is there any other statistics that we have to look at to find the best hitter for the game?
You want to look at everything. ISO, very important to me. I like to look at batting average in terms of not that it's any sort of predictor, but you want guys to put the ball in play. Walks are not very important to you in DFS. So
Especially not on DraftKings and Fantasy Draft. They're weighted less than a hit.
right.
So
Yeah.
even though they're the exact same thing.
It's a ball in play can score a run, and a walk essentially cannot, unless they're
Right.
already loaded. And at that point, you would rather the guy get a hit if they're loaded.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Best punt on Fantasy Draft. Well, let's see. If you're talking about just pure punts,
Montgomery.
Clint Frazier is probably my favorite cheap guy for the Yankees, batting 8th. Yu Chang is a decent punt. Yeah, I mean, do we need to get puntier than that? I don't know. Let's see. There's not Valoria. He'll probably get some ownership. But yeah, I don't think I'm looking to take any Tigers. Yeah, I would stick with those two guys.
I like it. What do we got? 3 minutes to go until lock?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Wife wants to go for a walk after this. I need to try to talk her out of it.
A walk?
Yeah.
That would mean you have to get up out of your desk.
Yes, I don't mind that. I'm happy to get out of my office, but I'm really not in the mood to go for a walk. I gotta record the early bird later tonight. I don't want to go for a walk and get invigorated and then slow it back down again.
Invigorated?
From a walk? Yeah. I'm not gonna be
You guys got woods or a trail by your house?
the street.
All right.
I mean, it's like a subdivision. It's not a lot of cars and stuff.
Yeah.
But no, I'll be super hyper aware of everything, and I want to try to wind down so that when I get off of that show with Stratford, I could hit the sheets in 15 minutes.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's the plan, at least. That's the plan. Josh, what happened to Liverpool? That was bad. I mean, they played well for 80 minutes and then gave up a goal on a garbage fake penalty. So if VAR is not going to overturn that, then nothing you can do. Guy took a dive. Played well at Napoli. I'll take it.
You don't sound biased at all.
Oh, he took a dive. I don't even think it's up for debate. Started jumping to the ground before he was ever any contact.
Yeah. That's soccer though, or football, I suppose.
They did instant replay. They didn't overturn it. I was not happy.
Yeah.
Not happy at all. But what are you gonna do?
Sports,
They'll get him
man.
in the home and home. They'll get him in the second leg, and most of it doesn't matter because we should stomp out the other two jabrones in the group.
Answer 33's got some advice for you.
She is good to me. She just got home today from Boston for a couple days, so
And she wants to go on a walk?
Yeah,
She wants to go on a walk right when she gets home?
I mean, she's been home for a couple hours now. But
Oh.
lineups are in for me 6:34:36. You got 25 seconds, guys. Get them in because I might just click stop streaming right when it clicks 6:35. Guys, coming up at 7:30. Got about. Oh my god! See, I can't even talk. This slate is just killing me. Got about an hour until the boys started up talking Jags Titans. So come back here at 7:30 Eastern for Alex Baker, Nolan Kelly, and Ben Rasa. Talking Showdown. You can get all your Showdown questions in there. That's what you need to do, but we are locked. Guys, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. Shout out to Fantasy Draft. If you want to play rake-free DFS, go to fantasydraft.com, use the promo code AWESEMO, get a 7-day free trial, and check out their $750K Hooters main event. Jake, anything else?
Could not have said it better myself. So that's all we got.
I do not disagree.
Enjoy the sports going on tonight, whether you're watching, I don't know, League of Legends, or I don't even know, there's probably Twitch streams you guys are watching, or that football game that's going on, NHL preseason. There's baseball too, as we talked about. So enjoy your night.
Later, everybody.